the perfect example of American hypocrisy. Tonight on Jon Stewart, they were joking around, and their shtick was about Muslims condemning Muslims for these attacks. But they went on and on about Muslims taking credit or identifying the terrorists and denouncing the terrorists. But they never talk about the white Americans that refused to denounce George Bush's 9/11 conspiracy. You see, they don't even want to discuss it. Americans are total hypocrites. They block it all out. They condemn everybody else for whatever it is, okay? And yet we're just wonderful. White Americans. Like the black leaders should condemn the black crime. Black on black crime. Like there's no white on white crime. How unbelievably absurd is that? And yet it goes on and on and on and on and on and on, because Americans are in a deep trance. They can't. I mean, this is simple, okay? You can't even think straight if you don't even understand what's actually going on right in front of you, and that you're participating in it as a white American, and talking about Muslims denouncing Muslims and blacks denouncing blacks and everybody else, okay? But never the white American. That they jump right into the crime. The Eric Garner murder by 5 cops, that only one cop, Pantaleo, was the subject of the grand jury. And nothing. I mean, whoever heard of such a thing? This is ridiculous and incredible. That only once of all time that they would isolate one perpetrator of 5 that they actually knew because they had a videotape, and then stretch it out for 9 weeks. And Americans, white Americans, they're not denouncing it. That those 5 cops, oh, the cops are great, they risked their lives, and the whole bit, okay, on and on and on. Well, that doesn't apply to those 5 cops. That's what we're talking about. You see that? Oh, they all become the white cops. The good guys. The white cops who risked their lives. No. They committed a murder. They jumped this guy for no reason. They weren't in the line of duty at all. Period. This guy was not even doing anything. He was on the sidewalk. I mean, if that's not a clear-cut hypocrisy, I don't know what is. And now I'm going to give you one more, because I'm putting this on my website. Dan Rather, looking straight at the Building 7 collapse. Nothing hit this building. Nothing hit the building, okay? And it just collapsed. Well, it didn't just collapse. They had explosives in there, just like they had explosives in the other two towers. Because you could see, if you look at my pictures, that the beams were cut. They were straight, and they were cut, and they were blasted in all directions. Now, gravity would make any item just drop. Period. It's that simple. So for beams to fly in all directions, there had to be explosives. It can't be a jet fuel fire that blasts beams out. That's preposterous nonsense. And there's plenty more. But anyway, the fact is that here's Dan Rather watching this thing and reporting it on 9/11 and never again. And no other reporter. Now, is that a possibility? It's all coincidental that each reporter on his own decided never to report the Building 7 collapse? And it's not even in the 9/11 Commission report, period. They want to hide the Building 7 collapse. I mean, it's like, wow. Okay, why is it? Isn't that crystal clear that there's a conspiracy by the media to bullshit everybody about 9/11 every single day, right? And we're the victims. Well, if we're the victims, what are we so worried about? We're worried because we aren't the victims. George Bush did it. He's a white American. He did it. Okay? He needs to be put on trial. And I have a federal court case that was dismissed against the constitutional right to have this case go to trial, but it was dismissed on totally bogus crap that all these judges jumped right into the conspiracy. They're part of it now, okay? They're obstructing justice. I laid out all of the evidence. They can't possibly deny any of it. I mean, it goes on, but I'll give you one last one. Moussaoui, he was arrested on August 16th in Minneapolis. He's convicted. Well, was he just this lone guy that just coincidentally popped up at the same time the other people, the other 19? Isn't that amazing? And they arrested him. And the FBI wanted to go after all of them, but the headquarters stopped them. Headquarters. FBI headquarters. That's Mueller. That's George Bush. Okay? Yeah. So, it goes on and on. There's plenty of evidence. It's overwhelming, and nobody wants to talk about it because white Americans are not going to come down on white Americans for anything. But they'll come down on Muslims or blacks or other people, that they should denounce their own group. White Americans is a group, and they completely ignore everything, cover it up, and deny it. And they refuse to have even a conversation about it. Okay? So there you go. This is the hypocrisy. This is the trance that everybody's in the United States of America. By the media, who leads them around by the nose, okay, on 9/11 and all kinds of stuff. And it happens all the time. I mean, just now, Eric Garner, okay, right there. And they're coming up, oh, the cops are great, and blah, blah, blah. We're not talking about the cops. We're talking about the 5 cops that murdered this guy. And then this bogus, phony, ridiculous grand jury that only has the one Pantaleo. He's the only cop that that was a suspect. They have a 4-minute video that shows the entire crime. So, I mean, if that's not overwhelming, then nothing could be. There you go. This is a white America. This is disgusting, actually. It's ignorant. It's psychotic. It's terrible that everybody goes along with it. Oh, we're just wonderful. Everybody should be like us. You know, freedom and truth and laws that we don't obey. We write them, okay? We write them, boy. We write laws, but we break them constantly. I'm talking about the government. Good night.